The Christian Andreacchio case was prematurely closed by authorities, but many questions remain. Come behind the curtain and follow private investigator Sheila Wysocki as she uncovers the truth about what happened to Christian. This is Without Warning.
On the last episode, you heard collaboration between Kassie Coleman, Benny Dubose, Jay Arrington, Gypsi Ward, Tony Green, and Richie McAlister. A meeting was held on July 1st at the Meridian Police Department. Were the collaborators there to help the Andreacchio family? Were they there to figure out how the investigation got botched, or were they there to cover up their mistakes and get on the same page to cover up yet another case gone bad? Christian Andreacchio's case was the subject of the meeting. The power players in Meridian and Mississippi all in one place discussing Christian. The meeting speaks for itself. Jay Arrington spent the meeting covering his actions and agitated that the Andreacchios have sought outside help. Kassie Coleman concentrated on what information was at the police station, in the evidence locker, what communications were available that had been between the Andreacchios and the chief. Of course, Kassie Coleman keeps saying there isn't new evidence, a ridiculous statement. Why Richie McAlister is involved in the meeting is perplexing. This is the same man who was caught on tape saying he was going to have to piss on a kid's memory. Tony Green, the director of the Public Integrity Unit, being part of the conversation is invaluable. His belief in his role, the role of the AG's office and the Andreacchios, speaks volumes. He said they don't dance to the Andreacchios. Isn't he supposed to protect the public from people like himself? Gypsi Ward was the investigator of the case. She also presented the case to the grand jury, an investigator that presented to the grand jury with evidence that had nothing to do with Christian's case. Was she trying to skew the results so they wouldn't proceed? This group of collaborators appear to be covering their actions, slamming the Andreacchios and their efforts instead of helping a family in need. Listen to the conversation, decide for yourself. Would you want this group of collaborators in charge of your son's case? I left off with Kassie Coleman saying to Jay Arrington that he was being confrontational, which of course is laughable. This is part 2 of the leaked meeting at the police station.
Well, I'm asking you.
No, I'm just saying.
You're being confrontational.
Okay, let's stop for a moment. Anyone think that was confrontational? Anyone? I am not a fan of a female doing that to control the situation.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
I'm just trying to figure out. Like, you hate Bilbo. I get it, but
I don't know why I hate Bilbo. I mean, when you got cases where you want to indict because somebody's a good baseball player in high school, I don't know.
I can't be held responsible.
I got you, but I'm just saying that's what was said. Robbie Jones' office was sitting in front of his desk. Bilbo said it on speakerphone. That's when it went to the AG's office because I was making up facts as I go.
And again, I mean, I've never heard that before. Trying to explore it right now.
Sure.
So at that point, do you think that is when Robbie rescinds the warrant?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm just saying that's just prior to him kicking it off to the AG's office.
To the best of my knowledge, that warrant that was rescinded was not rescinded until after Mississippi News or somebody got a hold of the story and found out that there was a warrant.
Do we still have a warrant?
So I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out.
That was the murder warrant that I was talking about.
So the couple warrant is still active, it just hadn't been entered in?
That's the one that they have a copy of that says, it either says withdrawn or rescinded. I can't remember because they just showed it to me. But
like 2 days after it was issued per, I don't know if it's D8 or
D something. I mean, it's...
There's not one?
No warrant here.
Okay.
There's no warrant.
No warrant active in the system?
No warrant here. No warrant active in the system.
Okay.
There is no warrant.
But Chief, like when they contacted you back in November, what were your thoughts on why they were wanting to meet? I mean, do you feel
Same old, wanting to bring somebody in to tell us about this, how they can solve the case, present the case, what we missed. They always had an expert with them or an expert report.
Okay.
They was talking about, I think, I forgot the term, when the blood settled in his legs or something.
There was a meeting in November with the Andreacchios. We have the audio of that as well, and it will be released.
Talking about that, and
Was that Knox bunch that had all that?
The Knox bunch, the highly qualified experts in forensic and reconstruction of crime scenes. More education and knowledge than I believe Jay Arrington has.
Nor did he ask.
I didn't even know we went.
Yeah, Bibble went down there. That during the time Brat 2 had it. You had to ask Brat 2 why he didn't get to go with Bibble. But I've never had the opportunity to go down and talk to him about this case. We don't even have this
But I'm
case
saying
anymore.
you keep saying you never had the opportunity. The opportunity would still be there right now if it's what you wanted to do, but you've never asked to go. I mean, these are the questions you're going to be asked, Jay, and that's what I'm just trying to get you to understand. Like you saying, well, I wasn't given the ability. That guy's going to say, my door's open right now if he wants to come and talk to me.
Okay, can I go?
I mean,
It's not our case.
Okay.
That's my thing. I don't even know why are we gonna
What-
take the case away from the AG's office, or? Are they
well, and
wanting
that's
the
why
AG
I was
to reopen
asking,
it, or-
like, was that their request to you that you reopen it? Because I mean, that is what that's what they said to me is, are you going to reopen it? And I'm like, we don't investigate.
District attorneys' offices do investigate. They actually have investigators on staff. Who is she kidding, or who is she talking to?
But I'm not going to throw you under the bus and say, go talk to the police department and get them to do it. I've just said, if anybody were to bring new evidence, I don't think y'all would turn it away. We wouldn't turn it away.
I grew up with a saying. The saying goes, I can't hear what you're saying because your actions are screaming at me. Kassie is the poster child for that saying.
We made it clear that that was what they needed in order to get it presented with something new. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what new stuff they supposedly bought us.
As we sit here today, you don't believe they brought you anything new or anything that would warrant additional follow-up?
No.
If there's anything new, they bring it to us, they bring it to them.
They said
they bought
No,
it to us.
I said, do they need to take it to them? They got the case.
but they're saying they brought it to you.
Yeah, the Andreacchio say lots of stuff, but
I
I'm saying,
understand that, Jay, and that is why I am here, is to
Okay.
try to get an understanding of what,
Is this
if
the
anything,
Andreacchio
was brought.
Is the evidence too?
Thank
That's
you.
what's here?
Yes, that's what it, unless it says inactive.
Where's is the gun on here?
The gun is inactive.
It's inactive. What does that mean?
It's showing that it's out at the lab.
Oh, okay. And all the rest of the stuff is here?
Mm-hmm.
Including the jacket belonging to Whitley?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay.
that's what Brat 2 said. He said you need to give back to the Andreacchios,
The jacket.
all that stuff.
Yeah, if you don't get a jacket to Andreacchio, that's Whitley's jacket.
That's the copy she printed out for
Thank
you.
you. So, well, I mean, I would like to take a copy of it, but I guess what I'm saying is, your meetings or interactions with them, do you feel like that's what they're asking you to do, is take it back from the AG's office?
They met with us in November, and they put it off for about
Yeah, it ended up
3 or
like
4 times.
December,
Yeah.
right?
I don't forget what the excuse was, but there was some reason why. But anyway, I guess that probably was their intention, to get us to reopen it, because AG's office had already presented it.
And you just essentially said, I mean,
I didn't say.
if you don't have something new, then
We
there's
had
nothing
made
we can
that.
do.
We had said that
Before you ever met with us.
Yeah. That we had to have something new. I think MBI presented it, and that we would have to have something other than what they had, something different, something new for Bilbo to open it back up. The holdup, I think, in the whole process was that Bilbo and Jay did G-Hall, and it never got presented.
Well,
And
there's
they
actually...
were blaming Jay, and then they come down here and blame Bilbo.
Right, oh, yeah. Well, and there is actually that same email which would have been, I guess, when Brad 2 still had it, because the email was to him, that they specifically say they're asking Bilbo not to present it to the grand jury yet because they wanted this other investigative group to come do some testing. That's when I think, Jay, you were talking about them doing, that they went back into the apartment and tested it. And I don't know how long. I mean, that's obviously after Brad 2 is there.
No, they did a testing while Brad 2 was still in charge of it.
That's my point. I mean, in other words, it's long enough that it's after Brad 2 has come back and been assigned the case.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I felt like your request last week was for an opportunity to present the case again.
Yeah, I'd like to work on that case some more and go at it again, but that's just me.
Could I say something?
Mm-hmm. But I want the chief to respond to that before we lose. I mean, because I'm not.
But I'll always say that's his decision, not mine.
This episode is brought to you by Home Advisor. Finding the right pros for home projects can be tough and spark a lot of questions like, how do I find a pro who can help? Will they do a good job? Will I get a fair price? That's where Home Advisor can help. From leaky faucets to major remodels, Home Advisor connects you to the right pro for the job in seconds and even helps you get a fair price. Read reviews, check project cost guides, and book appointments. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free Home Advisor app to start your next project.
The next man speaking is Tony Green, the director of the Public Integrity Unit. I don't need to say much because this man says the most outrageous things. What a scary thought to have someone like him in a position protecting the public. Obviously, he doesn't protect the public. This is all self-serving.
I'd say something for Chief,
Okay.
so he can think about it.
He's giving you.
I think it's sad that we're all playing fiddle to the tune of the Andreacchios.
Mm-hmm.
I've never, out of 33 years, seen a group of people have all of us dancing to their tune to the media. That's not what we're all about. And they've played this out to the media. They've played us all against each other. All this back and forth. I don't know Bilbo. Now he's working for us. I don't know him. I don't see him. We got 300-something people there. We don't see each other every day. I don't know the Andreacchios. They've set meetings up. They've piled in there with media, and then they refuse to meet. It's been a circus.
It has.
I'm so sorry about their son. Whatever happened, I wasn't there. I've sent investigators, top notch, some of the best we've got. Has spent months and hours looking through this case, experts to review it. But I am a firm believer in this. Just because one group looked at it and found that it was deemed suicide, another group found and believed it was suicide, we presented all facts that we had based on evidence statements, crime lab results, and that's what we presented. There was no personal, because we don't know any of them. We presented what we had, and a grand jury made their decision based on what we had. I'm a firm believer in a new set of eyes. If that's what it's going to take, now I heard this, whoever this was outside here, say, we got new evidence, and then you asked them, well, is it evidence? Well, I don't know that it's new evidence, but we would like to assist. Well, we don't assist. We don't need the assistance of private eyes, but
right.
We would love to have whatever information they have. But they said, well, I heard them say they give it to y'all.
They gave it to us, or they would?
That's not what they said. They turned it into y'all.
That's what they, and I guess that's why I was asking Jay who they were and how the meeting got set up, because they indicated that they said at least attempted to give it to you, and you said,
I don't have anything.
That's what I mean. I'm just repeating.
You know about them people in the hall out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you were standing there.
It was the first time I ever laid eyes on the day.
They just said the police department, not you personally.
Right.
So I'm just saying this. I talked to my boss on the way over here. I've been thinking about this. And he's in agreement with me. And we're not dumping it because we've done work. We spent 2 years working this thing. So this is not a dump. We're through. We've done our due diligence, worked this case from one end to the other. There's nothing else we can do. with this case. Our office is willing to turn the case over to y'all's office. Let a new set of eyes take it. Y'all want to work with this, see whatever these folks have got, so be it. We're not going to answer to the Andreacchios. We're not going to answer to this podcast, this media. We've never answered to it. We're not going to start now. This is between us.
I love the line, this is between us. It is not between us. It is between the public. Thank goodness the media and the public is being put on notice about Tony Green and his thoughts about power and position. Just wow.
Well, I mean, Tony, that's why my answer was, I mean, if you got something, send it. I mean, you know, if you found a golden...
Don't go to the media with
Right.
it. Send it.
Let me explain.
And don't make us wait 16 weeks to hear what you found.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you how we set up the grand jury. We put every single report, J's, Bratu's, MPD's, every single private investigators. We've done this in a PowerPoint. And they were able to go through every single case, what the PIs found, what the MPD found. We put all the text messages up there. And they was able to review all the text messages that was on all phones. There was nothing that we did not have in that box. We did not put in a PowerPoint presentation, even stuff that we found and was able to show them.
Y'all had the geodata on their own Swears and cell phone? Okay.
We presented all of that to the grand jury in a PowerPoint presentation.
More or less everybody's investigation was put out there.
Right.
So it would...
Even the
Here it
PIs.
Okay, good.
Here it is. Y'all make...
We were
They
out.
say this is a cover-up. Here it is. Everybody's out here. Y'all
We did
make
not
a decision.
keep not one PIs. We put Knox, we put Ardens, we put Max Hayes. There's not one that we did not put in a PowerPoint and show them.
Did
And
NBI turn their evidence over to you guys as well?
we did not get any physical evidence from NBI. We got their file,
Okay.
but no
Fine.
physical evidence. We put their report in the PowerPoint show.
Right.
There was not one piece of thing that grand jury did not have an opportunity to see. We were very, very transparent.
Gypsy, do you feel like they considered, and Jay, I don't want to misquote you, but our conversation last Thursday was the culpable negligence manslaughter, that your thoughts were because of them giving the gun back, allowing him to have the gun back, that negligent act which led to his death, not that you believe that he had the gun to his head, that he shot himself, but had they not given the gun back, Gypsy, that theory, do you feel like that was explored by the grand jury as far as like what culpability, if any, Dylan especially had for...
We explained that to them and how that works.
Okay.
And that's when they said, well, that doesn't seem fair if this person says, I'm going to kill myself, and then 3 days later they do it. That means I go to jail. And
Okay.
they didn't like that. So,
But I mean, you do feel like that
Where you get to 3 days later?
no, like, they were just trying to, play the devil's advocate. Like, how does that work?
like where is the cutoff?
Yeah,
so to
where's the
speak?
cutoff to speak when that comes? Because we brought that up. This is what it could be. This, we presented it as a murder. This is what it could be as far as the culpable negligence. And then they had questions about that. And like I just said, they were like, well, that doesn't, what's the cutoff? How long are you supposed to say before I'm responsible for somebody else's life? So I don't know, unless they've seen everything in a grand jury. So unless something come up today that's different than we showed them, I don't know what else you could do.
And that was in October of 17?
Mm-hmm.
And to either of your knowledge, nothing additional has been brought or received here since October.
No.
And I'll tell you this, Chief, we agreed to sit down and talk to Ray and Todd, and we had a meeting at our office after the grand jury. Like, we were trying to be transparent with them and say, this is everything that we presented. Please come by and look. Todd showed up with Max Hayes, one of the PIs, and we're like, Todd, we have no problem talking to you, but we're not going to have your PI in there. He said, well, I'm not talking to you, and left.
Then Miss Andreacchio supposed to show.
She was supposed
had a
to show.
headache that day.
Had a headache.
Too busy to talk about it.
We even presented to the grand jury that their biggest question was blood spatter. Why is there not tons of blood spatter in the bathroom? And I don't know if y'all seen this video. We showed them a video of a gentleman committing suicide in an interrogation room with the exact same type weapon, and there is no blood spatter. We showed a suicide video to the grand jury to try to explain the blood spatter and lack of. And this gentleman sits in a chair in an interrogation room, pulls out the same gun, puts it to his head. There's none. It's just drippage. It's not like a blowout like everybody thinks. So after they saw that in the grand jury, it made more sense to them.
Gypsi Ward used a video that no court in the country would allow because it wasn't what happened to Christian. The fact that she still thinks it's okay is baffling, just baffling. Daily Harvest is a proud sponsor of Without Warning podcast. The fall season is upon us, and what does that mean? More company. And how do I handle feeding so many people, sometimes up to 20 overnight guests staying at my house? Daily Harvest. Daily Harvest makes it easier for me to feed my guests fruits and vegetables with thoroughly sourced chef-created foods that can be prepared in less than 5 minutes. Daily Harvest offers a box with 65 different options, like ready-to-blend smoothies, hearty soups, and savory harvest bowls. Everything stays fresh in the freezer and it's ready to eat. This is a lifesaver for me. I am not a great cook, but Daily Harvest makes me look like I'm a good cook. Each Daily Harvest cups takes one step to prepare with room for customization. All I do is add almond milk to a smoothie and blend, or heat a harvest bowl and top it off with avocado. All Daily Harvest ingredients are sourced and selected maximum nourishment and peak season flavor. Daily Harvest is the quickest and most convenient way to eat delicious and nutritious meals or snacks, whether you're at your desk or on the go or study hall, or you're a guest at my house. Go to dailyharvest.com and enter promo code WOW to get $25 off your first box. That's promo code WOW for $25 off your first box at dailyharvest.com. dailyharvest.com.
The way his body curled up, his fingers still on the trigger, kind of like the autopsy picture, you know.
But that's something y'all can think about. And hey, if you find something with a new set of eyes, or they provide something, and y'all go in and indict him,
Best of luck.
we'll have a party with you. So be it. You're not going to hurt our feelings at all.
But without a doubt, y'all are closed, done,
We're
period.
done. I talked to Stan on the way over here.
If
I can show you the text.
any of these people were to make a request, like a FOIA request, y'all would provide it, period. I mean, obviously they got to pay for the copies. I get all that. But my question is, like, there would be none of this. We're not going to turn over and be it's a
Unless it was
closed
turned over here as an
investigation.
active investigation
Well,
still, correct?
We're not going to give them anything. If with it closed, if they want to take it and relook in it,
No, I'm saying, like, if a person made a Freedom of Information request, you know, I mean, if it's open, we obviously don't turn them over. But since it's closed,
I'll have to ask Stan that, because I would hope we send the whole file over here and we don't have it to give out.
you know, I mean, if it's open, we obviously don't turn them over. But since it's closed.
Now that we have the timeline, we know Kassie had the wheels in motion to release the file in place prior to this meeting.
Yes, we've already had to do that once.
Okay.
The Andreacchio's done that, and we gave them everything. That's why you'll see numbers, like how many pages it was on the outside.
Okay.
But I think you told me today that Marvin's already got another one.
Well, that's my understanding, but I don't know that. I haven't talked to him personally. And if they want this to be, the problem is I can't reinvestigate it. I mean, it's got to come from. But that's what I'm saying. They would need to make that request to y'all, bring us the case file back.
Yes. Y'all would have to request it from my office.
You've been doing this longer than me. Have y'all ever had a local agency take a case back? Because that is one of the questions when they first called me that I said, I don't really know at this point the procedure. If as an assistant DA, my boss, the DA, said I had a conflict. There are some conflicts that would be mine and some that would be just his. And even at my time at the AG's office, I don't ever know of a time of somebody coming along going, okay, we don't have a conflict anymore, send it back.
Yeah,
do you know if y'all had that?
Yeah, we've had it several times.
And y'all just boxed it up and sent it back and said?
They would send a letter and request.
Okay.
That they had, we've had it on rape cases, sexual assault cases. Mm-hmm. They would, time would go by, we would have either presented it, it was no build, or it was closed, unfounded, but then later on, new evidence would surface. Either new DA or new sheriff or whatever would want the case back.
And y'all would
new chief. they would request it and we'd send it back.
Okay.
There's no hard feelings, you know.
Well, yeah, no, I was just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously, they're not necessarily who requested y'all get involved. Bilbo is, but I just didn't know, because sometimes y'all get in after it's indicted and there's actually an order appointing the AG as a special prosecutor. Right. But when they're not indicted, y'all have the same authority that we have, so there's not an order like that puts out what the conflict is. So, Chief, what are your thoughts?
I feel sorry for him. I really do.
An admission of the poor investigation, but no one in this meeting is doing the right thing and blowing the whistle. Shameful.
There's no doubt that it was botched from the beginning.
I think, like you said, we all agree on that.
But based on what I know of the Andreacchios, when this group from Texas investigation leads to nothing except a big bill, they're going to go somewhere else and get another one and another one, and they're going to keep on scratching and scratching.
Had Benny Dubose done his job, the Andreacchios wouldn't have had to spend their own money and savings to find out what happened to Christian. I bet it really irritates Benny Dubose, Jay Arrington, the rest of that crew, that people have come in pro bono to help him out because of the outrageous investigation and abuse this family is put up with.
And they're not going to get what they want in the end. Not unless they get Dillon and Whitley to step forward and say, yeah, we shall. And that ain't happening.
Well, the thing about the Andreacchios, they want a murder charge or nothing, and that's not going to happen.
They're using the media, social media, anything they can to try to embarrass us into doing something.
They've already said they wouldn't accept anything other than a murder charge.
I guess my question is, what is the statute of limitations on the couple? What is that?
On the manslaughter?
The negligence. Is there a...
I don't think there is one, but I would have to go back and double check. But at some point,
if they come forward,
we're going to be asked.
If they come forward with new information, we'll look at it. But we are not going to say we're going to reopen it just to pacify it.
And you're not going to reopen it and assign somebody to go start digging down another route.
That is correct. They got to bring something new, or either we'll find something. We're not going to go out. And you said new set of eyes. We tell everybody in the department just about this case now.
And I don't disagree with that. I guess the way that I feel, and I'm kind of like Tony, I have said all along, and probably because he's one of the folks that trained me, is how I got this mindset, we're not going to try the case in the media. I'm not going to get out there and say yes or no. But there is going to come a time that there's going to be a question to say,
Kassie Coleman spent her campaign talking about this case in the media and slamming Ray Andreacchio on the radio and in newspapers.
Are you going to represent it? Are you going to look at it? And I don't want to speak on your behalf without talking to you, but I feel like that is the answer right now, is that the standard across the country is it was presented to a grand jury, it was no true build. And regardless of whether that had been Bilbo that presented it or the AG's office that presented it, unless there is either new information, newly discovered, or there's some reason to believe that it wasn't all presented, which I don't have any hesitations that they presented something different than what they said, then it's not correct for us to represent it. I don't have the resources to reopen it. Y'all have certainly expended multiple resources, but I don't want to say that and then your department say, well, if she'd have asked, we'd have looked into it again. And because I wasn't here for that original meeting, I didn't know if they were just generally complaining or asking that it be reopened or...
And I don't feel like if new evidence come forward that our office would shut it down. I just don't feel like that.
Well, they didn't offer anything.
They didn't offer anything? That's not the Andreacchios' job. The Andreacchios have gone above and beyond what any victim's family needs to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like if they come to us and somebody said that we have...
Yeah, I talked to Dylan on the phone and he said he did it. Right. I don't believe that y'all would do that, but I just...
No.
But as far as what we there's nothing else we can send to a grand jury that we haven't already given.
Did NBI present it for the grand jury?
No.
Okay, just that one time.
Just that one time.
Okay.
But their case was presented.
Yes, we presented everything they had in their case to that grand jury.
Chief, from my understanding, when NBI had it, it was kind of like you said earlier, there became conflict between that agent and then Andreacchios, and it was during that time, I think, that Bratu gets back and he's looking at it, and so there's some follow-up with him. And then Jay, you're saying it was kind of a breakdown between Bratu and the...
Bratu told him what he believed. They didn't like what he believed.
And then Jay gets into it. But I think that MBI had already turned in their report.
Oh, yeah.
But then, Bratu was looking at multiple cold cases, and that one was just one of them. And so they requested, the family requested that it not be presented until some of those things could be looked into, including, I think, the Knox group that they hired. So,
anyone believe for a minute that the Andreacchios are dictating anything on what is or what isn't presented to the grand jury?
I'd be very interested if you're willing to share too those emails, because I do think that they were reaching out. They might reach out to Bratu and he would say, well, the DA's office said this, and then they may reach out to Bilbo and he would say something else. And I don't think that Bilbo kept up with any of that.
Did AG ever interview Whitley?
No, she had an attorney.
She did. Stewart. Okay. Oh, Stewart.
MBI did. MBI interviewed both Dylan and Whitley, right?
Correct.
They had those questions in the report as well.
There's a report. Oh, and that's the other thing. You and I were talking on Thursday, and you said that you recorded all of the follow-up interviews and stuff, like with Wilburn, that you did once you took it over, but they don't have copies of any videos.
If the case was closed and Kassie Coleman and this group of collaborators have said they aren't reopening it, why would she need all the copies of emails and videos? We do know that Frankie Wagner has set in motion the release of the case file through FOIA. Would Kassie have held on to the information the police department has if it isn't favorable to her spin?
I'll look to see if I got some recordings. I think everything I have is in that case file. But I did interview Wilburn, D. Thompson about who made the gun safe.
And I think you talked to the coroner and maybe ambulance, but
Did either one of them say they did? Did either one of them?
No.
It was documented. Like, you wrote it out. But
No.
I don't know if it's like audio or video. We don't have any audio or video of it.
And none of them cleared the gun?
They don't remember.
They couldn't remember clearing the gun.
Are we supposed to be meeting with them again or something?
Now, like I said, what prompted me to call you was when I went back and listened to that tape,
Oh,
and he
okay.
said, she shouldn't have said that we brought new evidence to you. We took new evidence to Dubose and Arrington. And it was kind of like bells went off in my head that I guess I was so concerned with her sending an email to the AG's office saying we brought her new evidence that when he finally said, no, we didn't bring it to you, I think I just was like, okay, good, we're on the same page.
Go ahead, stop and rewind that. I don't need to say anything about Kassie Coleman's statement.
I don't know what else we can get other than a confession.
What to do with the evidence we got back there? Give it to them, give it to the Andreacchios.
Come to some type of final decision on what's going to happen here.
All right, the things that say active are the things that are in evidence?
Yes.
And the things that say inactive, you had it, but it's now somewhere else?
Yes.
Okay.
Guess it up.
Any questions of me?
Listen to the chief of police and his next statements. Listen to what he is saying about the case and the contradictions. The only word that comes to mind is disgust.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the case, when she first called me and I got the case, I read the case and looked at it, man, this is screwed up big time. A lot of contradictions and stuff in there, Whitley saying that she was hugging him, or somebody saying that Whitley was hugging him, and I think it was Dylan saying, leave him alone, and she didn't have a drop of blood on her. Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Slept at a gunshot.
Yeah, slept with a gunshot in an apartment.
But he comes in and just wakes her up.
Yeah, but there's a lot of it.
It's hard to undo a bill that's wrong.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
absolutely. Well, I can't think of nobody that hadn't had the case. The feds, have they played with it any?
I think she's made a request to them. but
Percy sent a request at the time at the time the U.S. Attorney was Greg Davis. The email's in here where he sent it, asked him to look into it.
Did they respond?
Greg, I think, was waiting back, said he'd look at it, but I don't think he had
I don't think he ever tested. Nobody from the U.S. Attorney's Office contacted us about it.
I've never, she indicated in the letter that she sent me that she had reached out to Mike Hurst, but they've never requested anything from me, and they've never requested anything from y'all. But
Let me give you a clue on what conflict of interest is. Your husband calling businesses talking about the Andreacchios. Your husband trying to make a media deal with Whitley and you, his wife, Kassie Coleman, not under Bilbo, but under your administration.
Mike Hurst, he probably never come back to Meridian.
Well, but that goes back to, say what you want to about Bilbo or Meridian or whatever their doubts may be, small town, I get it, but you can't, I don't think, allege that goes all the way up to the AG's office, or that if it did, that Mike Hurst would turn down an opportunity to, blow corruption statewide. I don't know enough about it, and quite frankly, still am not real clear exactly what the conflicts with everybody may or may not have been, and how many of those are going to be mine just because they were Bilbo's and I worked for them. But
3652. Untrue. And why? Why would a DA go to Florida alone to meet with Knox?
Again, I just didn't want.
Either, did you?
What's that?
You didn't have anything to do with this, but this is Bilbo all the way.
Well, again, my recollection is we got the file from NBI, which included, of course, what Meridian had done up until the point that they had it. And it was at that point that the Andreacchios began asking, hold off. I think they tried to get copies of the files. So I remember seeing the text message, seeing some of the reports, but then, they obviously did a lot of follow-up even afterwards. And I don't know whether the Andreacchios provided to y'all or if y'all went out and sought all the other PIs that they had hired. I do know that Bilbo went down there and met with somebody in Florida, but I have no idea, other than Bilbo came back and said they couldn't say definitively it was not a suicide. They could show the things. And I don't think anybody whatsoever has any doubts that they moved the body. There's no doubt about that. It's just whether or not there was more to it than that. But yeah, so none of that. Bilbo handled all of that directly, and then from the time they took it over, he boxed up everything that we had. We didn't even have a paper file and sent it. Which I'm sure that they're willing to return the favor right now and box up their file and bring it back. But
Like today.
We've done all we can do.
Like I said, unless something else comes new, we've presented everything we've had.
Listening to this tape was mind-blowing and eye-opening all at the same time. Remember, we know that this tape was altered. I don't know the outcome as I'm taping this, if Kassie Coleman or Michael Grace won. Whatever happened in the election doesn't change the facts that the administration, the police department, the Attorney General's office, and the District Attorney's office all collaborated in a meeting to get on the same page, not for the benefit of finding the truth, but for covering up their own actions. My hope is the silent majority stood up and voted.
Christian's family gives their full permission for any and all details to be shared in hope that the truth will come out. If you know anything at all, call 1-888-599-0008 or email tips@SheilaWysocki.com. Without Warning, Executive Director, Executive Producer, and Host Sheila Wysocki. Mix and mastering by Resonant Recording. And announcer Tim Evans.
I will continue the conversation with bonus episodes on my Patreon page, Without Warning. Please go to withoutwarningpodcast.com and buy a t-shirt and show your support to Christian Andreacchio.